All right, it's game two, CrimsonTide versus Stanley, and I'm kind of hoping this time there's no there's no tragic Zoom issues or anything weird like that, or just nah. I'm done with that. I'm done with it. Here we go. This is game two. I'm going to get the little best of three thing going on in the bottom left. I'm going to get CrimsonTide is one game up. Oh yeah, like an actual, like this is a proper tournament, like the ones on telly and all. I've got the, this is the WCS overlay and everything, like WCS, man. Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, the last game was pretty brief, to be honest. CrimsonTide just go in with a pretty standard opener into some Ling Roach pressure, and that went really well. I managed to close out the game. Stan going this double gas opener again. I don't know if that's because he's got a build in mind with the double gas. The only thing generally that you need such early gas for as Protoss would be Dark Templars. If you are going to go for some dirty DT drop, which I'm not suggesting that people aspire to this, but about 4 minutes 15 you can drop 3 DTs from a warp prism into your opponent's base if you really try, and that would be with one stalker at home and an expo. Anyway, just saying. But if you were going to do a build like that, you would need very early gas saturation. Now Stan got the double gas, but actually doesn't have the saturation. CrimsonTide this time is going to send the Overlord a little bit deeper into Stan's base and have a look at what is up. Now's probably the time to leave, though. You see that both of these are busy. You see that the side core is finished. You would generally assume that there's about to be a stalker coming out, and you don't want to be caught too deep here. And I think Crimson, I think Beth, you have been caught a bit deep, and you're going to lose this Overlord, and really that's a little sloppy. Not actually, yeah, just about supply block. So at 44, so can't build anything until the Overlord comes out. 14 Lings are going to come out and see if they can get some work done. However, 3 Zealots, 3 Stalkers at home should be... Oh no, that's more than 14 Lings. That's a lot of Lings. That's 28 Lings, my bad. Now this is actually trouble, but it depends on the position in here. It's unfortunate that these Zealots have come down the ramp and got surrounded. Had they stayed here, they would have absolutely dominated this. But, Zealots trade so well against the Lings, and with the firepower of the Stalkers behind them, Stan actually cleans that up pretty handily. Yeah, actually just fine, especially those last couple of Stalkers coming out to help at the last moment as well. Stan has not learned from the last game, though, and look, this single pylon powering all of this stuff. Don't be that guy. The Dark Shrine is coming down. It's a slightly delayed Dark Shrine, especially given that there's no expo here. So it does look like maybe Stan is going to try and get the invisible man out. Stan, do you know what you're doing here? Because you don't have a Stargate in sight, but you are researching air upgrades. The air upgrades aren't going to help your invisible man in any way. I don't know. Maybe this is really serious advanced planning for the late game. You haven't actually got an expo yet, but you're already getting the upgrades for the carriers. Anyway. Meanwhile, in Zergland, look, there's a Hydra down already, off 2 bases, 2-base Hydra. Stan, a little ambitious to try and push in here with this. What I would have liked to have seen, Stan, before you just walked your Stalkers to their doom there, you've got the Robo. You could have got an Observer out, and you could have actually scouted, because let's just go back a moment here. Let's go back a moment. Let's see. Whoa, slow down. This is what Stan knows about what he's walking into. Literally not a thing. So you kind of deserve to lose units if you just blindly walk them up around it with no clue what's waiting for you. And then once you're outnumbered, don't stand and fight. These Stalkers can easily outrun the Hydras on the map. So, once you realised you weren't going to win, you could have pulled those Stalkers back and they would have survived absolutely fine. But Stan, I mean, your long-range mining here, please just build a Nexus. Come on, dude. Build a Nexus. Stan is holding out for this Warp Prism with Dark Templars to win the game for him. Luckily, they're Dark Templars with air upgrades, so who knows, maybe that is going to be just the ticket. The air upgrades, I don't know, the air upgrades, I don't know if air upgrades actually work on warp prisms. Does that mean that Stan's probably got enough to hold here. Adepts do okay against Hydras because Hydras are pretty squishy, and Stalkers, they're not perfect against Hydras, but they're not bad either. So that was this time CrimsonTide a little ambitious in just marching up that map with no clue what you're walking into. Yeah, I actually don't know if a warp. Oh, good God, when did this happen? So the warp prism, look, while that was happening, what timing wise, this is kind of peachy, isn't it? The warp prism arrives and is going to warp in 3 DTs. What I was saying before is I don't know if air upgrades affect warp prisms because they don't come out of the Stargate, they come out of the Robo. So you'd kind of think probably they do. So the like armor upgrade might work. 3 overseers are going to come in here and reveal these DTs. Oh, that's a lovely little burrow actually to keep the roaches safe. I like that. And yeah, the DTs do get cleaned up. However, you know, they did do a reasonable amount of hurting. So 15 workers have gone down there. And if we look at the units lost tab, CrimsonTide has lost more in the way of resources. Ignore the numbers because, you know, lings and stuff. It's the resources that counts here in the units lost. So CrimsonTide has done slightly worse, but it's not a huge skew. And in general, as Zerg, you're okay with that because you generally do win by just kind of steamrolling your opponent. This is a reasonably effective looking Zerg army coming through here, but the supply you know, is more than double the Protoss. If there was a shield battery here, I'd still fancy the Protoss, but there isn't. So if this Zerg army just marches up the ramp, I feel like it is going to win. That is a very slow warp in. You'll get a faster warp in using a pylon that's within range of the gateway. But yeah, I feel like this Zerg army might actually be enough. If we look at the if we look at the upgrades, the Protoss is 1-1, as is the Zerg. So pretty even on upgrades, but does look like is the Protoss going to hold here? Are they going to hold? It's pretty close, isn't it? It's pretty close. And it does actually look like that last warp in Stalkers. Yeah, Protoss is going to hold. So is that what? Was that all of the army? Did I miss a bit or something? I'm not really sure. I'm a little surprised. I actually thought CrimsonTide had enough to break there, but turns out no. Anyway, these roaches need to, I don't know. Is there going to be another warp-in run? I guess so. Stan's got the Stargate now, and given that the air upgrades are ready, I'm a little disappointed not to see Vivia Void Ray being chronoed out, and ideally an Immortal chronoed out as well would really deal with these roaches in short order. Ideally in this scenario, run these workers away. Just run them away until you've got enough units to fight the roaches, because at present the workers are dying for no specific reason. This, if they were better positioned, would probably be enough Stalkers to deal with this, but they are going to clean them up, but you want to be careful with that sort of fighting in a choke. If I go back a little bit, notice when these Stalkers first engage, they're actually in each other's way, and you end up in this scenario where these Stalkers at the back, this guy's just footing about, he hasn't fired a shot yet. So you just in general, as like, it's not significant micro to just make sure all of your units are firing. So, you know, if you find yourself in that scenario, just grab your units, right click, move them forward a tiny bit, and then hit S to stop them and let them shoot again. You can even star step them forward if you want to let them move forward a little bit more to kind of maximize the efficiency of that movement. But you know, that doesn't really, that'll gain you a tiny edge. What will gain you a big edge is just having all of your units shooting at once. Now, the invisible men are back, but there is an overseer here, so CrimsonTide's going to clean this up pretty sharpish. Oh, good lord! What? Oh, you're kidding me. That's a thing, is it? Who knew? Who knew that was a thing? Apparently, I don't even know what it did. Apparently, Control E brings you right back to the start of a game, which is annoying because Control R tells you how many units and workers have been killed, and that is definitely what I was looking for. I don't even have a scrub bar on this overlay. Come on, WCS. There's no scroll bar for for scrubbing through the video, so I'm just going to have to run it on ×8 until we get to somewhere vaguely useful. That is, you know, pretty annoying, but who knows, maybe I'll spot something this time around that I didn't see that last time. I think my career as a professional StarCraft caster is probably not going to happen, is it? You know, this is not the polished sort of videos that, you know, the likes of Rotterdam puts out, or you know, it's just not, is it? It's not that good. Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. So look, those stalkers up the ramp didn't work this time around either. Just in the same way that these hydras up this ramp are not going to work. So, you know, didn't work first time, didn't work second time on ×8 speed. So have we learned anything there? Not sure. Those DTs did some stuff, and that was fine. Yeah, so no, it's a little bit yet, isn't it? A little bit yet. So this was where I actually thought the Zerg probably had enough to push through. And does eventually kind of break through and get a lot of worker damage done. You know, at this point, with the Zerg on 3 bases and Stan essentially on 1, the income tab must be massively skewed in favor of the Zerg, and it is. So I sort of feel like unless these DTs can win the game here, which seems unlikely, there isn't really, you know, there isn't much point in killing that. Those are kind of wasted swipes. And once this stuff turns up that's going to kill your DTs, get them out of there. Now, CrimsonTide, you know, surely you must be aware that the DTs are appearing in your base here. So I wouldn't mind saying something to deal with that warp prism. You know, they didn't magic their way in there. They're kind of they're flying in with the prism. So, you know, do kill it. Even just like plant thing. I'm so sorry. I hate having the cold. It's horrible. Spore crawler. So look, the prism's just going to fly into here. I'm not sure what the advantage of moving to there was, other than making the queen aware of it. And oh, it doesn't get it. A more prism on 1 health. Are you kidding me? 1 health. Now, these DTs could potentially focus down the lair, but meanwhile I'm loving the burrow move with the roaches. Don't know about that location. I think I'd send them up in here for the workers, or even here and just snipe the pylon. This stuff can kill these DTs. I don't know, CrimsonTide obviously busy on the other side of the map. These roaches are getting some work done. If you burrow them like that, they regenerate their health very, very quickly indeed. So everything cleaned up in the Zerg base has still got the roach warren, has still got the hydra den. Those aren't going to go anywhere. The pool is going to take a long time to bleed out. So it looks like CrimsonTide has done enough. Stanley just doesn't have any money. He's only mining with a handful of workers here, so he can't really build any more units. Now, with that said, he has got workers to mine with, but for reasons best known to himself, those weren't mining for a long time. Now, what can Stan do here? The obvious thing to do is, with your stalkers, focus on the overseers and kill them. And in that way you kill the Zerg protection and then just warp in a handful of invisible men. Now, unfortunately, Stanley's only got enough money for 1 invisible man, but nevertheless it could stand here and block the ramp and be a real problem, and it would take a while for the Zerg to get more protection across the map. As it's happened, the pylons powering all this stuff are gone, so Stan can no longer make any units whatsoever, and it is going to be GG pretty shortly. So closer game this time round. Those invisible men almost bringing it home for Stan, but just not quite. But, you know, we did see a little bit of back and forth, both players pushing into their opponent's base, neither able to deliver a clean blow for the first few attempts. And in the end, trading invisible men on one side of the map with the kind of roachling push on the other side of the map. So a nice bit of back and forth, but it's CrimsonTide that goes through 2-0. GG.